are live
Are we live?
now.
Are we live?
Yes, we are live.
And we are live.
Okay. Welcome to Chaos and Amazement, where we explore the impact of digital technology on our daily lives. And my name is Verheyen, and this is.
I am Willaerts, and together we've built socialrunners.com, a platform where marketing professionals like me can book creative professionals like Phil.
In this podcast, we bring the latest tech news. And Chloe,
Yeah, well, there
let's
was, of
go.
course, the obvious tech news of this week was obviously the Apple event. Did you watch?
Yeah,
You did?
always.
Yeah, I
I'm a
always
nerd.
try to watch, but it's getting less and less exciting every time. And then it's like the iPhone 15. I mean, 15 is a very high number. But next time we'll do it together and then do a drinking game. Every time they say excited or exciting,
Yeah.
we take a shot.
They always use how do you say it? Super relatives words?
Yeah, I was super excited, very excited, and I wasn't excited.
Never seen before.
Yeah, I wasn't excited at all. There was nothing new really.
No.
So,
There's
except for one news, but they were
wow.
practically forced by European laws to do this. So yeah, that was something. That, are you going to buy the new iPhone
I
15?
already bought it.
Oh God,
It
you're
was
so
today.
gullible.
Yeah, today was no, but this phone is for 2 years now, so
Hmm.
it's done. The next
Yeah,
one.
that's when you need. Well, the USB-C thing, of course. So finally, the iPhone is now like every other smartphone in the world. Even the other new features, like on the level of camera, level of the software behind photography, there's literal five other Android models that have at least the same
Yeah,
features.
and you only have with the Pro Max the 5x
These
zoom.
names, I
Yeah.
mean, what are they gonna name? Like the premium version is called the Apple Max Pro Plus Limited Edition Gold. I don't like. I know it's hard. It was fun while they could just put like I in front of everything. And but then they had to let it go, obviously,
Mm,
because iWatch. I thought that was a shame.
yeah,
And now they have to add things after the iPhone.
iVision Pro.
Yeah, they didn't. They barely mentioned
Yeah,
it, so that was another thing that surprised me because that was the this year. That's the true innovation that Apple came out with,
but
and
they told us that they are super excited, super excited, for the developers who are working
yeah.
on apps for this device. So
Mhm.
I'm curious.
Yeah, but they also said it was going to be available early next year, and we're already, in late 2023. So, oh well. For me, that wasn't even the real big news. Although this USB-C charger thing about time, because it annoyed me.
Yeah,
Of course, like everyone who ever makes the mistake of buying like one Apple product, could be anything, could be like, an iPhone, you end up buying the whole set. You end up with buying like the iPad, the Apple Watch, and
yeah,
everything,
and they don't ship with the how do you
the
say it,
charger
the
cables,
adapter? Yeah,
yeah, and the adapters. That's another thing. So basically, now Apple also has to offer the adapters from USB-C to the other things, although you can theoretically use any adapter right now. And then in true Apple classic, yeah, that's what they always do. They're very expensive.
mm,
So they are true to the brand, even when they are forced to use like a world standard, really. Because when I'm traveling, I still have to. I now have like one charger that has different ports,
yeah.
USB-C and regular USB, and then one regular electricity charging port. But I still need three different cables, which is, yeah. Well, no, for me that was not the big news of this week, although I did watch. For me, the big news was the launch in the US, currently only in the US, of TikTok Shop. So the URL is shop.tiktok.com. And I mentioned it a couple of times. I was literally waiting on this moment in time when the TikTok app would have native commerce features in it, and this is happening now in the US. So they have been doing some experiments, but now it's available for US merchants.
Okay.
And this is copied from China, right? Where you have opinion leaders, as influencers are called. They can create a shop of the products that they're selling or reselling, And then during a live stream, so this is an actual feature of the TikTok shop as it went live in the US. You can offer in-app shopping features while you're doing the live stream, and your
Okay.
audience doesn't even have to leave the live stream to order from you online. So I know that in Instagram you can have shoppable ads, but then basically, technically, you're still switching from Instagram to, for example, Shopify.
Yeah.
And the app makes it look as if you don't. But if you don't have, for example, a login for Shopify, you will notice that you're leaving the Instagram planet and then moving to another one. So
And that's a barrier.
it's a barrier for a lot of people. You lose
Yeah.
a lot of customers. While if you're an influencer and you're showcasing, usually it's products like accessories or apparel or makeup, for example, and you get excited. You're a fan of this influencer to say, yeah, for my lip I use, you want to buy this thing. You're in the mood, and then if there is not a lot of friction, you can still, keep watching the live stream. You don't have to leave the app. You don't have to log in again. Then I think this will actually work. So I'm super, super excited. This is, I think, the first day of social commerce
Yeah.
being available in the Western world. It's normal. It's been like absolutely normal in China. We don't have like the dring for China anymore, so I can
Nope.
mention it as much as I like. Another app by the same company, ByteDance, is of course CapCut, which we also mentioned quite often in our show. And they're now actually the number one video editing app in the world. And it's overtaken other apps like InShot. Quite a few people I know use InShot to create
Yeah.
their short videos. CapCut is now definitely number one. And what is interesting is that CapCut has a free layer. It's a freemium model, right? So you can do a lot with CapCut in the free version. It's fine. But I quickly went over to the pro version. I don't know what usually it's something like $7 a month. It's something in the range of that. And then you have more templates, more fonts, more features, more filters, etc. And I gladly did so because it's a very powerful video editing app. And so it does make money. And it was in the news, data.ai, which used to be called appanny.com. So I'm not sure if you remember that one, appanny.com, now called data.ai. It actually has these hit lists of the most popular, most downloaded, etc. apps by market. So this is a site where you can look up for iPhone and or Android, what is the most downloaded e-commerce app in Belgium? You can. So it's an interesting site. So they came out with these numbers, and they also have an eye on the revenue that CapCut is making, and they just crossed the 100 million spend milestone. 100 million. So this app made 100 million for ByteDance, TikTok's mother company. So they're actually making money on two sides now. TikTok from advertisers, and then through CapCut Pro version from video editors. So I think I like it. I like it a lot. It makes a lot more sense than what. And then I can mention it again, like as much as I like the app formerly known as Twitter is trying to do, where the whole business model and where the revenue comes from is a lot messier. Just offering two different apps. On all of the platforms, looking back, made a lot more sense for TikTok. So it's a healthy business model.
Yeah, it was also smart because if you are into video editing from your phone and you are not on TikTok, now everybody's on TikTok. But
Everybody's on TikTok,
in the beginning, I had CapCut, but I didn't have TikTok.
Oh yeah, so you're using CapCut to because it's such an intuitive video editing tool, and then
if you want to share it, it's share it on
very
TikTok or
convenient.
save. So it's smart.
Exactly. Yeah, that's another way of they're very, very smart people. ByteDance, not the only company with Chinese roots, but since I can drop China as much as I like without it costing us money. So China, as you know, has a central government, which means that it kind of the government unilaterally. It's not a democracy, right? So they don't vote about things. So the Chinese government will decide on things and then roll it out over the whole country, which is basically billions of people. Right? I think at least 1 billion people. So they have a lot of impact. And one of the things that the government, the Chinese Communist Party has decided is that they want to roll out digital yuan. So yuan is the equivalent of euro or
Mm.
dollars in China, and now they want everyone to use the digital currency. So basically, their version of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So it's a new currency. It's a new currency that is not pegged to the actual currency that
It's
is
like
being used right now.
USDT, for
Yeah,
example.
something
Yeah.
like that. And but of course, and this is a typical network thing. Anyone, you and me, can start our own currency if we want to. But if not enough people adopt it, if you cannot pay with it, if you don't have anyone who pays you in this currency, it will never happen. The interesting thing with the digital yuan is, of course, if the central government of one of the most populous countries in the world decides that everyone should start using it, they can do things like, and this is what they did, they actually forced some of the largest platforms, digital platforms and apps in China, like Alipay and WeChat. WeChat is used to pay for things, so they also have WeChat Pay, and then Alipay is, of course, from Alibaba. Two huge, very popular social media platforms. It's like these are the literal everything apps, right?
Yeah.
And they now want to force these two to use the new digital one.
It's the same as Amazon would use USDT
or PayPal,
Yeah.
which has happened before. It's just not happened before that a national, like the government decides that from now on, and they're doing it, for example, by forcing these two social media giants, well, they're more than just social media, but you know what I mean, WeChat and Alipay, to use standardized QR codes that are interchangeable. And this blew my mind because these are two different platforms. Alipay, I think it was originally founded by Alibaba, Jack Ma, and then WeChat is, I think, originally by one of the telecommunications company, Tencent, or one of the others. So they have completely different roots. They're completely different companies. And now they're going to have to use the same interchangeable QR codes, which is amazing. This means that you can actually pay someone, create a QR code to get paid on WeChat, and then have someone on Alipay use it to pay you.
Wow.
Which is wow. Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be it's something as simple as a QR code, really.
Yeah. But don't we have this as well with the banks?
Well, on a national level, you can. On a national, but we're a tiny little country, so we can have something like QR codes being recognized by Payconic and by a lot of our banks as well. But that only works in Belgium. I noticed that Dutch brothers and sisters, they get very confused when they see us use these QR codes, and they don't have. They do other things. They have
Ideal.
And they pin a lot, so they don't use they ticky or use tickies, whatever that may be. So it's confined to the national borders, which is fine, but very limited if you're a tiny little country like Belgium is. It becomes interesting, of course, if you're one of the largest countries in the world, literally, which is China, obviously, and then it becomes super interesting, I think. Plus, it's the government that can still keep an eye on, who's paying who and whether they pay taxes and stuff like that. So for me, the TikTok shop, CapCut becoming a money-making machine for ByteDance, very popular video editing, and then the digital yuan together, for me, that's the bulk of the tech news this week. So
okay.
Definitely not Apple. Because the Chinese government also decided 2 weeks ago that their officials, so government officials, are banned from using an iPhone, which was bad news for Apple because they actually had a limited but super interesting market in China, where an iPhone, like some of the German car brands and some of the Italian fashion brands, are very popular. They're seen as a premium brand. Plus, of course, most of the iPhones are still made in China, I think. I'm not sure. Something completely different. We briefly mentioned influencers and how on TikTok now they can theoretically in the US start their own little shop selling or reselling merchandise or products that they have an affiliation deal with. This, I think, it's an interesting way to make money if you're an influencer. So Stripe, which is also a payment platform,
Yeah, that we use as well.
yeah, that we use on socialrunners.com, has just come out with a report about what is called the creator economy. The creator economy is basically influencers trying to make money from their followers. They don't want to be named influencers; they are creators, right? And yeah, it's a very optimistic report. But of course, I'm looking at it from our little gloomy little country, Belgium, where there are not like a handful of influencers who actually make a lot of money through social media. This is different, of course, in the US or in China, where you have a larger scale.
Also, the Netherlands, they have a lot of
They have
influencers.
yeah, but it's a large monolingual market.
Yeah.
When Belgium is like one, a lot smaller, and two, bilingual. So it's immediately becomes a lot more. Plus, this is a very subjective opinion, of course, but I don't think culturally speaking, Flemish people who follow an influencer will easily look across the border to Dutch influencers. The way that French speaking Belgians, for example, I know that they do easily look across the border and can become, start following a French influencer. It's not as black and white as I present it, but this makes it a very, very, very small pond, your audience as a Belgian influencer. Nevertheless, the Stripe report is very optimistic about the way it's going and how much money is being made and how this is growing. But what I thought was interesting is that they have pricing. So as far as Stripe knows, and I know quite a lot about who's paying who online, with maybe a bias towards the United States, probably. But they actually came out with some numbers. So how much are influencers paid by the brands? What is the average benchmark? And what I thought was interesting is that there are four platforms where your amount of subscribers is the parameter, and then there's one where, let's call them advertisers, really don't care how many subscribers you have. They're looking at the individual video.
Okay.
So let's first look at the four, let's just say, old school, classic social media platforms, and how many followers or subscribers you need to make an amount of money. So let's start with Instagram, which is the most obvious one. So according to Stripe, you can get $10 per 1,000 followers. So in theory, if you have 10,000 followers, you can make $100 as an influencer. Yeah.
Okay.
YouTube is more, actually, because it's a lot more effort to make a YouTube video than it is to make an Instagram post. $20 per 1,000 subscribers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's normal.
I wouldn't quit my day job, though.
No.
Twitter.
Not yet, Chloe.
Not yet. Twitter, only $2 per 1,000 followers.
Oh.
So I couldn't even make $3. I'm open, I'm open to suggestions. If your brand fits my brand, I can make a whopping $2.50 with a Twitter post. And then the blog, that's interesting. That makes me happy because I'm still blogging. I started blogging in 2004. So I will be blogging. I have my 20th year blogging anniversary next year. So that's something to look forward to. I can make $60 per 1,000 unique visitors. Now, currently, I'm a bit ashamed to say, but I haven't switched yet to Google Analytics 4. So I really don't know how many unique visitors I have. I assume they're guessing monthly unique visitors, something like that, 1,000, and then I can make $60. So you can make more money by blogging and YouTubing than you can with being the classic Instagram. But making an Instagram post is, of course, a lot less work than writing a blog post or creating a video. And then there's TikTok. So TikTok, according to the Stripe report, you don't get paid because you have 10,000 followers on TikTok. You get paid per post. And then probably the deal is like, if you get this amount of views on your post, we pay you according to that amount, which makes it's completely different way of looking at influencers. I
Yeah.
like it. So and there it's like between $5 and 2,500 per post,
Okay.
depending on whether it goes viral or not.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's an interesting way to look at influencers, because if you make an agreement with an influencer, then you can say, you know what, do your thing. It'll be more perceived as more authentic than when a brand and an advertising agency creates a TikTok video out of nowhere. They already have an audience. They know how to play with the algorithm. And then we'll just say what happens with the video, and then we pay you accordingly.
So with TikTok, an
Mhm.
influencer can't set his price already. It's afterwards.
It's afterwards when I look at the results, which as a marketeer, I like. I like it a lot. Because then they know the platform and the algorithm better than you do.
Yeah.
Because they have been posting for a year or 2 years and you haven't. They know their audience. So and then of course it's just crossing fingers every time you post a video on TikTok. You can go viral and have 1 million views one time, and you make a similar video 2 days later, and then tumbleweed, nothing happens.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting way to work with advertisers, because from the advertisers, marketing professionals' point of view, you are used to paying per click or paying per impression. So paying per video view is kind of normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's already going on, because otherwise the Stripe report wouldn't have made the distinction between being paid according to the amount of followers that you have, and then this TikTok outlier where you're being paid according to how well the video does.
Mm.
So this is interesting. It might be even more interesting for an influencer who knows a lot about the algorithm by experience, to create a new burner account, because a fresh account, if it's a good video, might go viral.
Yeah. Oh.
And then you just sell it to your advertiser. Yeah, you're welcome. You can steal this idea. So yeah, that's interesting. And another topic that often returns in chaos and amazement, and it sits firmly in the chaos part, I think, is all sorts of privacy infractions where it's no longer people saying stupid things on a public platform or in social media that gets them caught. But it's the fact that police departments, for example, are actually using software and services that allow them to make an analysis of, let's just say, closed circuit TV video images, and they can afterwards see who was doing what, of course, which we are used to because we see
Yeah.
these videos quite a lot. But now, of course, true to Minority Report, which was, may I remember you, a movie made in 2005 or 2006
That's a long time ago.
by Steven Spielberg with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
The software where the whole movie is about actually predicts that someone is about to commit a crime.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get arrested by the police, sometimes minutes before they actually kill someone. So that was science fiction in 2006. It's reality right now. And this comes up. So there are platforms that are quite well known, like Peter Thiel's his company called Palantir Technologies, or Clearview. What they started as is a company that just collects personal information from the internet and social media. And then, for example, I think it was Clearview was known already 5 years ago to apply facial recognition technology to profile pictures that people use in their social media accounts. And of course, you can protect your Facebook profile or your Instagram profile, but your profile picture is still public. It still turns up in your Google results, so it's public.
Okay.
And then using this facial technology, they can actually see that the same person under a different name, for example, is active in, I don't know, some other online forum, for example, or in the comment
That's
section
good.
of Het Laatste Nieuws, which is the most popular newspaper in Belgium, and the comment section is wow, something else. So that's Palantir and Clearview. Now there's a third player that I learned about. It's called the Voyager Labs, which is a cool name, Voyager Labs. And so this week news came out that the NYPD, the New York Police Department, has spent millions of dollars on this AI technology that Voyager Labs offers, so they can monitor social media and predict future crimes.
Wow,
Yeah.
crazy.
So if that doesn't sound like Minority Report, I don't know. Obviously, there's wow. We should have Wim here again to ask his opinion about it. I'm pretty sure in Europe that is super illegal.
Yeah.
Because of course, you still you can't just arrest someone because the AI has made a prediction that you're about to kill your wife. It doesn't work like that. You need proof or a confession or a testimony, even then, very shaky grounds. And then of course the AI and the facial technology part and recognizing people's faces and then linking it to their true identity. This type of AI is not 100% foolproof, obviously.
No.
Specifically for people with a darker skin. So AI has always had a big issue with being specific enough about individuals who just happen to have a darker skin. So that's not okay at all. So you can imagine where this is going.
Yeah.
So they're picking up someone for driving while black, but now it's AI driven.
That's
Yeah,
so bad.
this is not just science fiction anymore. It's happening, and the U.S. is a different market, of course, than in Europe. I think, although the Belgian Federal Police, that was a leak. They are a customer of one of these two, Palantir or Clearview. I think it was Clearview, but they use it after the crime.
Yeah. In the past, there was a program on Discovery Channel, Futurescape. I thought it was
Futurescape. Okay.
Futurescape. And there was also one episode where they went to a company who are studying to get images of the brain after the crime.
After, okay.
Yeah. So
It's like a lie
did he
detector.
do it or did he?
Yeah,
did he
it's
not?
like a lie detector.
Yeah. And it was crazy. In that time, they already had like shades and it was pretty. This is 2013.
13, that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, speaking of science fiction movies, we mentioned Minority Report. This week I actually rewatched another science fiction. Well, it's not true science fiction-ish. It's a movie with Jim Carrey from 1996. One of his best roles, I think. He's the cable guy. And so in this movie, he is like in Belgium, he would work for Telenet or Proximus, and he's the one who's actually brought internet to your home. And in 1996, is more like a TV cable environment, but it's interesting because his character in again 1996, which is before for us, it's before the internet, makes a prediction to sell the fact that you need cable in your house. And I'm just going to read the quote. Soon, every American home will integrate their television, phone, and computer. You'll be able to visit the Louvre on one channel or watch female mud wrestling on another. You can do your shopping at home or play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam. There's no end to the possibilities. So again, 1996, which is ages ago. Ages. Were you even born? I think you were just born. I don't know. I have no idea. You're ageless.
1991.
You were 5.
Yeah, and then
you didn't see Cable Guy when it came out. You were 5. You were clueless.
But I think I watched it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey is great.
It's
very
awesome.
intense.
Yeah.
But if you look back now, he is so on point about everything he says, except that maybe back then cable was more like your TV would become smart, while now for me it's more like my iPad, iPhone combination, and you're switching between smaller screens and bigger screens. But all of his predictions came true. Female mud wrestling is a little specific, I must admit. For most people, it's viewed today as a sexual fetish for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's there. You can, if you know where to look, it's there. What amazed me most is that it mentions Mortal Kombat, which was already a, I think it was more like
It was also an arcade game.
an
No?
arcade
Yeah.
game back then. I looked it up, and it is currently. And let me check the numbers just to be sure. It is today. Hang on, just 1 minute. So sometimes I just invent my own truth. But in Mortal Kombat, I really wanted to know. It's actually right now literally one of the most popular games still.
Okay.
Specifically Mortal Kombat. Now let me see. Oh, I mentioned it in my newsletter. That's where I wrote it. Yeah. Mortal Kombat is still the best-selling fighting game franchise worldwide, still. And it's one of the highest grossing media franchises of all time.
Really?
Yes. Mortal Kombat. Everyone knows Mortal Kombat. If you
Yeah,
look at,
yeah.
for example, generative AI,
Yeah.
so you have a number of memes of people creating, fantastic situations, building on someone that everyone recognized, like, for example, Harry Potter or
Yeah.
Balenciaga, stuff like that. Well, Mortal Kombat was up there immediately.
Marvel.
Immediately, people were making combinations of, popular public figures in Mortal Kombat. So it is something that everyone knows and everyone recognizes. It's part of our popular culture. But I'll be honest, I didn't know it was one of the highest grossing media
No,
franchises of all
me
time.
neither. Wow.
And you can still play it on all. You can play Mortal Kombat with your
I
friend in
think 2
Vietnam.
years ago they released a new game. No,
They're
on the
still they're
PlayStation
still
5
still
or
releasing.
yeah.
Let me check. I just had to know.
You have all the stats.
Shopping at home, fighting Morona. Xbox Cloud Gaming offers it, and then there are you can either play the retro version, like in arcade spots, or the Play emulator, which does a big market for everyone who was like 12 years old in 1996. They're older now, but they still want to, it's nostalgia is very, very strong. But on the Xbox, for example, you can play the latest version. So it's still a thing. So that's one surprise that I got.
Wow. Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Let us know if you still play Mortal Kombat, or if you have fond arcade memories of spending all of the money that you got from your grandma.
I
the
want
coins.
to buy Pac-Man. Like the art. Yeah.
Yeah,
There was one guy selling this on Facebook this week for 500 euros.
I see.
That's not
The physical arcade.
Fiscal.
A friend of mine has a physical arcade in his living room. This is old technology. I mean, these machines are like super heavy and bulky.
Yeah.
So they will look weird in whatever interior you're going to put them in. It's just different. It's like an old fridge, really.
Yeah, it needs to be in a man cave.
In the man cave, yeah, with the LED lighting, in the
The bar.
backgrounds, and the sofas.
The beer. And, yeah.
Things happen. Never light a black light on the sofa. Yeah, well, that was one blog post that I made. Then there was another one, but I'm not going to go too deeply in it. But I just want to mention, if you don't know Kurzgesagt's YouTube channel, you should check it out. So in spite of the name Kurzgesagt, which is German for in a nutshell, they are an English-speaking channel, although they have different language versions now, in Spanish, for example, and in German, of course. They have this very bright style that you will immediately recognize. I think we're looking at that little bird. So they always feature their little bird somewhere. It's a little purple bird. But you recognize the style immediately. They're very good. And they make educational videos, but they are very, very good at making very complex concepts simple, which is very hard to do. So the one you just scrolled over, so not a classroom, but the two people looking at each other, is a video. Is about the question. They always start with a question: what if, for example? And the question in this particular video is: are you a dream of the universe? Which is a very interesting mind exercise. I like it a lot. Is this the real thing, or are we actually
a simulation?
Or do we live in a computer simulation? Are we just characters in someone else's dream? So it's very, very well made, and I particularly liked the theory that we're actually living in a fake universe, and then everything is randomly.
Absolutely everything you think about yourself and the universe could be an illusion. As far as you know, you are real and exist in a universe that was.
I love these videos.
Yes, they're very well made. Highly recommended.
Finally, you, except maybe not. You may actually not exist for real.
It's a lot of work to create these videos.
But they have been
it's-
doing it for.
Yeah,
for-
but they are long videos.
they are very long.
Good voiceover,
Good,
good
everything,
graphics.
the language versions and everything, and so one of their, of course, sometimes they get paid by the World Economic Forum, for example, to make an informational video, or by the Bill Gates Foundation. But they also sell merchandise, and I usually I just I'm not interested by the T-shirts, etc. But the posters that they sell are in the same vibrant style, and then just imagine that you have like the universe infographic in the Kurzgesagt style. That might spice up the background in your man cave. Why
Yeah.
not? Yes,
I'm gonna remember it for my prompts.
yeah, it will make you look smart, your man cave, but smarter than the empty beer cans and the full ashtrays. But the blog post that I wrote, the third blog post this week, and the one I had most fun with, was about emojis, and we mentioned emojis before in this show. I am trained as a linguist, and I am fascinated by emojis. Why did I write a blog post this week? Because the new generation of emojis came out. I think it's now called version 15 points. So like once a year, let me see, version 15, emoji 15.1.
They are going with the iPhone.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing. So first of all, it is a global language, and I think that didn't exist before. It is a language. It originates in Japan, which explains. So there are two weird things about this language or alphabet. Is that once an emoji is added to this alphabet, it can never be removed. So you can see that it has Japanese origins, because if you scroll all the way to the right and you stop just before fun with flags, there are these obscure Japanese icons, and they all mean something, but super specific. They are like the type of sign you would hang on like a toilet door, something like that. So they're super specific. And for us, we literally never use them because we can't read them. And there are a number of early emojis. So the ones to the right are the oldest ones. And emojis actually originated, I think, in 2006, so ages ago. A lot of these refer to things from Japanese culture, like
we
the
also-
wind gong.
We use it also in Amazon. No.
No, yeah, we used emoticons, the
Ah, yeah.
smileys.
Okay. Yeah.
The smileys, actually, historically speaking, the smileys, and before that, ASCII code. So it started with like the colon dash and,
Yeah.
and the bracket, which was like a smiley on its side. That's how it started. Then we have the emoticons, which were mostly smileys. And then emojis started adding things like a red balloon and the poop emoji, which is my favorite, but I'll get back to that. So the amazing thing is that it started in Japan, but then I think there were a few moments in time when it became like truly global. And one of these moments was, of course, when the iPhone started adding it. Because before that, you had to know like almost like the ASCII code.
Yeah.
To make them appear.
Yeah.
And they are also different. They look different depending on the platform you're using them on. So emojis look different on Android than they do on Apple. What was the year? I think 2009. So the iPhone was launched in 2007, and then in 2009, the iPhone started incorporating it, and that's when it truly went global. So it started crossing the border from obscure, applications, mainly in the Asian world, and then it started crossing the border. And then things happen, like, for example, the poop emoji, which I think is amazing, because it's a good example of how an emoji. So it's an ideogram. An ideogram is a little. It's like it means one thing. So it's one symbol that means one thing. So we don't use in like Dutch doesn't use ideograms.
No.
We use letters. Letters make up words, and then words make up sentences, which is like 3 different layers. Very hard. Ideograms, like hieroglyphs in Egypt,
Yeah.
they're ideograms. So one symbol means one thing. However, and that's what I like about it, is that it still has all of these subtle layers, like irony, and when there were like these protests in Hong Kong, for example, emojis were used to avoid censorship. And I'll give you one example. So a lot of the platforms don't allow symbols that talk about like violence, which is obvious, but also that refer to sex. And then people get creative. Because we all know that the eggplant is used a lot, but rarely to talk about the vegetable.
Yeah, and the peach.
And the peach, the eggplant and the peach. But this is actually, I once did some consulting for the company in Belgium beyond Durex. And I came up with a concept where we tested with their target audience. We were looking for a secret way to order pizza online through the regular pizza app, but you could add something so that the pizza delivery guy would know that they would have, put some condoms samples, simple sample. Durex will give you a box of them if you tell them that you would use it as a sample with the pizza. And then you would have like this covert campaign telling you that if you add like aubergine, peach umbrella, and I tested it. Do you know, what do you think this message mean? And I said, use a condom.
Yeah.
And if what would it mean if you would use the eggplant, umbrella?
Water sports.
Then you're going to have gay sex, so you need different condoms for that. So that was actually, it's a shame they never did this. It's that it has that many layers. And then the poop emoji is interesting because there is a Japanese consortium that has to decide every year whether they're going to add this or that. So this year, the next one up is they're adding a phoenix. Great, a number of other things. So it's a big decision to make. So long time ago, someone decided you need poop in the alphabet. And so the document where this is proposed by engineers, right? So they have to propose it and they have to add the meaning to it. And the meaning from the start was that because it's a smiling poop. I can't believe it's a smiling poop. And that was the meaning from the start. It's to talk about the situation that is not okay, but yeah, could be better, but it's not ideal. That is what the poop emoji means. And then it became like, it went viral when the Google version, the Android version, decided to add some flies.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, because some people thought it was like ice cream, which it was not. And then the Android version has little flies buzzing around the poop. And it's so universal that on the beach in Belgium, in Ostend, you have these signs on a pole. So the pole is like, I don't know, 4 or 5 meters high. And then there's like a thing on top, like a banana or a strawberry, so that you can tell small children, if you get lost, remember, we are next to the banana. One of those, swear to God, is a poop emoji. There is a poop emoji, okay. a large poop emoji, a physical 3D poop emoji on top of a pole on the beach in Ostend. It is that universal. They know that a 3-year-old, when you say, remember, if you get lost, we're sitting next to the poop emoji. And then in Flemish, we call it het lachend kakske, which I think is great. A 3-year-old knows what you mean. It's that powerful.
Yeah, there was one time, I think 6 years ago, famous Dutch rapper, Mr. Polska.
Oh, yeah, the car.
Yeah, asked me to design his car with poop
exactly.
emojis.
You have to show it.
Yeah, I'm searching for it.
And he had his car wrapped. It was a rather high-end BMW, if I remember well. How long was this ago? 5 years ago?
No, 6 years.
6 years already.
Yeah.
I think it was like a BMW. What was it?
A 7 series.
7 series, so one of the more expensive ones. And he could have made his car look unique by wrapping it in whatever design he chose. And he chose poop emojis all over the car. That's
awesome.
that's one way to make an entrance. If you're having a date and you want to make a first impression, and he comes to pick you up. Good news, it's a BMW. Bad news, it's covered in poop emojis.
I just need to go to YouTube. That's faster.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I've had a lot of fun with a feature by Google called Emoji Kitchen. So Emoji Kitchen is something I've been told that has been available on Android devices for quite a while now. And the idea behind Emoji Kitchen is that you can combine 2 different emojis into one. So theoretically, you can come up with, I don't know, like a porcupine and an alien, and then it will create a new emoji based on these 2. You can have a kitten and then combine it with a crying emoji, crying face, and then the kitten will cry as a result. So you create new emojis by creating 2 existing ones. Now,
That's
why am
nice.
I love it because this week it became available for everyone, for the rest of us who are not on Android. So all you need to do is open up Google, so google.com.
Maybe let's do this first.
Yeah, google.com. And what you need to type in the search field is Emoji Kitchen. So as soon as you do that, a big button will appear, let's cook, something like that, big blue button. When you click that, you will get some examples of, you have the whole, it's not a complete alphabet because some of them are missing, like the obscure Japanese ones and a couple of animals. But what I like is that you can randomly generate some. And what we are looking at now is like the holy football. These are 2 smileys. So it's rain and a smiley, so it's a smiling cloud. There's a llama and a hugging face, so the result is a hugging llama.
Aww.
And so you have like a trophy and a bunch of flowers. So then you have cheese and a single tear, porcupine and the devil. Then you get evil porcupine, and I was surprised by the quality of these because you can actually right-click them and then download them as an image. And I was so surprised. Kissing skull. All right. I was thinking if you have a startup right now, very often can't find a name for your startup. So then it's a good idea to just take an adjective and then add some noun to it and then become a company that is called Blue Puppy or something like that. And because most, Hugging Face, which is a very well-known AI startup, literally took their name from the latest emoji that was being added, which is the hugging face. So you can't do that anymore. What we're looking at is brilliant. So you combine poop emoji and alien face, and then you get alien poop, which is very good looking. So instead of if we have poop and a ghost,
This
and
is
then
more
that's
like,
a fart.
Yeah.
What happens when you combine a poop and a ghost? You get a fart. So don't waste your time trying to come up with a name for your startup. Just go to Emoji Kitchen. You can access it by just typing in google.com and then typing in the words Emoji Kitchen. It will take you there. And then just combine 2 of your favorite emojis. I combined, for example, fire and bird, and it came up with an awesome looking.
This one.
Yes. What's that bird named again?
Firebird.
Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah, Firebird, Phoenix. In my blog, I also have like a robot unicorn, very scary looking, and a melon shark, and a pupocado, of course. A pupocado is what happens when you leave the avocado out too long with the bananas. Bananas have a bad influence on avocados. And then you cut it open and so pupocado.
Nice.
So
I found the video.
You found the video.
Yeah, I will
Mr.
show.
Polska. So for those who don't know, who is Mr. Polska?
He's a Dutch rapper,
I
but
see.
he's a Polish guy.
He's actually, hence the name.
Oh, that's me there. Oh my God.
This is him. He looks a little like Vin Diesel.
This is 5 years ago. 5
Yeah.
years ago.
And you did this, right? You wrapped it. Oh, here it is in all its glory.
Wait, I will go further.
So here you have the BMW.
That's a dark setting. Maybe we have We went to the McDonald's with this car.
And the ladies went wild, I
Ga je
imagine.
er twee op elkaar doen? En als we er dan 3 op elkaar doen?
They're messing with the McDonald's.
Rijden?
Yeah. They're just
You
driving.
need to see the car in daylight.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Did,
was
did they ever get feedback from BMW? Were they
No.
happy?
the one we did with Enzo Knoll with John Deere.
Oh, that one worked. Really
John
well.
Deere reacted on this,
Ah, I
and
see.
they invited us to their factory in
in the US.
Den Haag.
Oh, they have one there too.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, so we're having fun. Let's go all the way. You know that I get a lot of inspiration from Reddit. There are some subreddits that are amazing. And one of these subreddits is called Bad UI Battles. I found it through a tweet by a Twitter account called Volodarik. And Volodarik made a Twitter thread with some of... So what goes on in this subreddit, Bad UI Battles, is that engineers and designers, user interface designers, are trying to make the worst user interface they can think of. And the Twitter thread, one of the winners is the one on top, is you have to fill in your phone number, and then the numbers just gradually...
Oh no.
Yeah, it's very hard to use. The one just below, they get worse. The more you scroll, the more... Please enter your name, and if you try to do this, the number, if you click like a number or a letter, then this number or letter falls down like a throw.
Oh
And
my God.
it falls or it doesn't fall in the right slot where you have to fill it in.
Oh my
it's
God.
very annoying. So all of these remove your account, but if you want to remove the account, you have to pick one of these 3 cups, and they switch places the whole time. And the decision is final. So they're very, very creative. The volume control, which is one of the third ones, it starts messing around with whatever you're trying to manipulate. So there's it's just made it's like printers.
Yeah.
When they smell
Yeah.
your fear, they jam.
Yeah.
Printers were made to make people's lives miserable. All of these interfaces are deliberately designed to make your life miserable. So whatever you're trying to do, fill in your... there's a QR code, which is bad enough as it is, but you have to puzzle the QR code before you can use it.
Oh my God.
So that's it's hell, user interface hell. But then they took it up a notch. So what we're looking at now is the cursor. You can't move it using your mouse or the touchscreen. You have to move a ventilator on the screen, and then the ventilator blows the cursor more or less towards the point on the screen where you want it to go. So all of them are enraging. So the idea in this subreddit, which is a Bad UI Battles, is that they vote which one made the worst one, and they're all really bad. They're all really bad. Yeah, it made me laugh. And then another one that I mentioned, so this is the last fun thing that we saw. I mentioned this website will self-destruct in my newsletter, about 2 years ago when it was started. So the idea behind this, so the URL is literally called, this website will self-destruct.com. And so it's a website that is supposed to self-destruct unless someone sends it a message. So it's like a message in a bottle, except that nobody will find a bottle, or you're screaming into a void.
Yeah.
So you type in a message and then you don't know where it ends up, probably nowhere. But as long as someone visits the website and does the effort to send a message, dear website, and then it goes on. You can, I didn't know that. You can read some of the messages. Some of them are actually very sad. This one is, let's write a story. Some of them are, what people say when I think no one is listening is actually, it scares me that I might never be truly happy with who I am and what I achieve. Okay. So the website that was supposed to self-destruct because of a lack of attention got so much attention that it's now been alive for 40 months, 3 days, 2 hours, 42
Wow.
minutes, and 2 seconds. So that's actually, there's a market for people who are lonely and who just want to be heard. So I mentioned that, what we did with the bad UI was the last fun thing that we did. And the very last crazy website that I found this week is called. It's basically an online clock, so it's not that unique. But what it does, it shows you what time it is. But then for both of the numbers in the time, it will pick a news headline that also mentions this number. I think we'll just have to read what's on screen now. So it's now 5:55 p.m. in US. US sanctions 5 Turkey-based firms in broad Russia action on over 100 targets. And then the 55 minutes, 55 inexpensive products with impressive results. PM.
Who is making this? This is taking a lot of time, no?
Yeah,
Just to-
Dimitri has a great reaction here. He's waiting for a claw emoji. Well, let's just see. With 2 existing emojis, would you have to combine to come up with a claw emoji? So I'm curious about that one. Fire, obviously, and kiss. Let's see what happens.
Fire and kiss.
Fire and kiss. That would be my emoji, I think. Fire, and is kiss even there? Yeah, it's not very good. It's a little disappointing. So Dimitri, let us know which 2 emojis do we need
This
to
one I
combine to
like.
end up with me. Fire and Fox. Firefox, the browser. Firefox is a browser, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad looking. Fire kitten, maybe. I don't know.
Kitten. Is there a kitten?
There's a cat in there somewhere. It's a cat face.
Yeah.
Next to the doggy. We'll have to keep trying until
This
we
is a
end
new
up-
one. No, this one.
Which one?
This one.
Oh yeah, that was one of the latest. I'm not sure what it is. It's like the sun peeking from behind the clouds, something like that, or someone trying to break through a paper wall,
Or someone who is shy. No, shy is already.
or
in
trying to disappear.
Yeah, like
Homer
Homer.
Simpson. Yeah, some of the emojis that you expect are not there in the emoji kitchen, and then others that you weren't aware of. Are
Dimitri
there.
liked the fire and kiss sign, so.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's all we have time for today, I think. So we'll love to see you again. Same time next week for
Yeah.
more Chaos and Amazement. So if you want to get notified next time, whatever platform you're on, put on notifications.
Follow us or
Follow
subscribe.
us. We're everywhere. Live streaming is done on LinkedIn from the company page.
LinkedIn, Facebook, yeah, from the company page, Social Runners, Facebook, Social Runners,
Same
and
thing. Yeah.
YouTube. We have the Chaos and Amazement podcast channel
Then it's of course audio only as a podcast available
on Spotify,
on Spotify
and Apple Podcasts.
And then from my personal Twitter account, we're also doing an audio only version on Twitter Spaces. I'm not sure for how much longer because, to be honest, I wake up every morning scared that Twitter will have
And you have
imploded.
your Substack as well.
Willaerts.substack.com, which is my weekly newsletter and basically the show notes of Chaos and Amazement, the talk show.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you next time.